Hey everyone, happy World Sleep Day. You know we're all about breathing easy here, right? And especially for our amazing Asthma Friend community out there.
Absolutely.
We wanted to take a deep dive today into something super important for all of us when it comes to managing asthma, and that is sleep.
Yeah. Definitely a good night's sleep can make all the difference, can it?
Totally. So we've been looking at a bunch of insights from our Asthma Friend community, and we're really excited to share some practical tips and tricks that might help you improve your sleep and hopefully your asthma along the way.
Yeah. It's amazing how much those two things are connected.
Right. It's like a chicken and egg situation sometimes. Like, you ever notice how a bad night's sleep can make your asthma feel like a million times worse the next day?
Oh, yeah. Or how when your asthma is acting up, it's almost impossible to get a good night's sleep.
Exactly. It's like this frustrating cycle. So let's break it down a little bit, shall we? Starting with how poor sleep can actually make asthma more challenging.
Okay, sounds good.
One of the first things that our asthma friend community highlighted is increased inflammation. What's the deal with that?
Well, think about it this way. When you're sleep deprived, your body kind of goes into this state of alert, right?
Like fight or flight almost.
Yeah, almost. And that triggers the release of these things called cytokines. They're like chemical messengers that promote inflammation throughout the body.
Ah, so it's not just in your head when you feel like everything's worse after a bad night's sleep.
Exactly. And for someone with asthma, that inflammation can hit their airways hard, making them super sensitive and much more likely to react to triggers.
Oh, wow. That makes a lot of sense. And the asthma friend community also mentioned a weakened immune system as a consequence of poor sleep.
Right. Sleep is like your body's pit stop for repairs.
I like that analogy.
It's when your immune system gets a chance to recharge and fight off any bugs trying to sneak in. But when you're constantly short on sleep, your immune system can't work at its best. And that leaves you vulnerable to all sorts of infections, like colds and the flu, which, as we know, are often big triggers for asthma flare-ups.
So basically, getting enough sleep is like giving your body the tools it needs to fight back against asthma triggers.
Exactly. You're giving your immune system that fighting chance.
I love it. Okay, now this one might seem a little counterintuitive, but our asthma friend folks mentioned how simply lying down can actually be tricky for people with asthma.
Yeah, this has to do with gravity and how our airways are positioned.
Oh, interesting. Tell me more.
So when you lie flat, there's this natural tendency for your airways to narrow a bit because of the pressure from all the tissues around them.
Oh, I see. So for someone with asthma where their airways are already sensitive, that slight narrowing can be enough to cause problems.
Exactly. It can trigger coughing, wheezing, that feeling of tightness in the chest, all the things we want to avoid, especially at night when we're trying to sleep.
Right. And it seems like this whole poor sleep thing can snowball into even bigger issues affecting lung function and how well asthma is controlled overall.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of research showing a link between poor sleep and reduced lung capacity.
Really?
hmm And people who consistently don't sleep well often find it harder to keep their asthma symptoms under control. It really highlights how essential sleep is for maintaining healthy lungs.
Wow. So it's not just about feeling tired, it's actually impacting how well you breathe.
Exactly. It's all connected.
Okay, last thing on this side of the coin. The asthma friend community brought up the link between sleep deprivation and anxiety.
Ah, yes. The vicious cycle strikes again.
Right. Explain that one for us.
Well, when you're not sleeping well, you're more likely to feel stressed and anxious,
Should
right?
make sense.
And unfortunately for those of us with asthma, those feelings can actually worsen asthma symptoms, leading to more breathing difficulties, which then makes it even harder to sleep. It's this awful loop that can be really hard to break.
It sounds like it. Okay, so we've talked about how lack of sleep can negatively impact asthma. But now let's flip the script a little. Why is it so hard for many of us in the asthma friend community to get a good night's sleep in the first place?
Yeah, good point.
What are some of the main culprits?
Well, one major reason that comes up a lot in our community is nocturnal asthma.
Yeah, that's where asthma symptoms actually get worse at night.
Exactly. It's not just a random flare-up here and there. For many people, their asthma is actually most troublesome during the night and early morning hours.
That's so interesting. It's not just about lying down, right? There must be some other things going on in our bodies at night.
Yeah, you're right. Our bodies run on these 24-hour cycles called circadian rhythms, and they affect a ton of different functions, including hormone levels and even how our airways behave.
So it's like our bodies are programmed to have slightly more sensitive airways at night.
Sort of. Certain hormones that help keep our airways open naturally dip at night, and for people with asthma, that dip can be more pronounced, leading to tighter airways and those classic nocturnal asthma symptoms.
Wow, that's fascinating. And of course, we can't forget about those sneaky allergens lurking in our bedrooms.
Oh, those are the worst. Dust mites are a big one for many people in our community, along with pet dander, mold spores, and even pollen that can drift in from outside.
Ugh, it's like our bedrooms are allergen magnets sometimes.
I know, right? Especially with all the bedding, carpets, and soft furnishings, it's like an all-you-can-eat buffet for dust mites.
Definitely not ideal for anyone with asthma. And speaking of things that might not be so obvious, the Asthma Friend community often mentions a connection between acid reflux, or GERD, and asthma. How does that play into sleep problems?
It's an interesting link. When you have acid reflux, stomach acid comes back up into your esophagus,
Hmm.
and that can irritate not only your esophagus, but also your airways, especially when you're lying down.
Ah, so the acid is basically triggering those coughing and wheezing symptoms.
Exactly. So, managing reflux can be a big part of improving nighttime asthma control and getting better sleep.
It's like a domino effect. One thing leads to another.
Right. It's all connected.
And lastly, something that a lot of us in the Asthma Friend community deal with, the timing of our asthma medications.
Oh, yeah, that can be tricky.
It's like a balancing act between controlling asthma during the day and getting good sleep at night.
Absolutely. Some asthma medications, especially the ones that can pep you up a bit, can actually make it harder to fall asleep if you take them too close to bedtime.
Well, that makes sense. So it's really important to talk to your doctor about the best timing for your meds.
Totally. Your doctor can help you find that sweet spot where your asthma is well managed and you can still get a good night's rest.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here, talking about the challenges that many in our Asthma Friend community face when it comes to sleep and asthma. But let's switch gears now and focus on some positive, practical things we can do to get better sleep. Any suggestions?
Definitely. Let's start with creating an asthma-friendly bedroom.
Perfect. It's all about setting the stage for a restful night.
Exactly. And one of the best things you can do is tackle those pesky allergens head on.
How do we do that?
Well, dust mite covers for your pillows and mattress are a game changer for a lot of people.
Ah, those are a must-have for sure.
And keeping things clean, like washing your bed sheets and pillowcases every week in hot water, that helps kill those dust mites and removes allergens.
Sounds like a good excuse to treat yourself to some new bedding.
Totally. And if you have pets, keeping them out of the bedroom can be really helpful, especially if you're allergic to pet dander.
Yeah, as much as we love our furry friends, sometimes they gotta sleep elsewhere for the sake of our lungs.
Exactly. And air purifiers can also be a great addition to an asthma-friendly bedroom. They help trap all those airborne particles like dust, pollen, and mold spores, making the air much cleaner.
Air purifiers are definitely a hot topic in the Asthma Friend community.
Oh.
Seems like a lot of people swear by them.
Yeah, they can really make a difference. Okay, moving beyond the bedroom itself, let's talk about managing those nighttime asthma triggers in general.
Sounds good. What else can we do?
Well, during high pollen season, keeping your windows closed, especially at night, can help prevent those allergens from sneaking in and irritating your airways.
Okay, good to know. What about humidity? Does that play a role?
It does. Keeping the humidity in your home between 40 and 50% can help prevent mold growth.
Ah, I gotta keep that mold at bay.
Definitely. And another thing to be mindful of is strong fragrances in the bedroom.
That's an interesting one. Tell me more.
Things like scented candles, air fresheners, even strong laundry detergents can release these tiny particles that can irritate sensitive airways.
Oh, wow. I hadn't really thought about that.
Yeah, it's something to be mindful of, so opting for fragrance-free products in the bedroom is usually a safer bet.
Got it. Now let's move on to something a little more personal. Sleeping position.
Ah, yes.
The age-old debate.
Right. Everyone has their preferences, but it can actually make a difference for breathing, right? It can. Our asthma friend community often recommends trying to sleep slightly elevated, maybe with an extra pillow or two.
Oh, like propping yourself up a bit.
Yeah, it can help take some of the pressure off your airways, especially if you tend to get congested at night.
Makes sense. And for folks who have both asthma and acid reflux, are there any specific positions that might help?
Yeah, for GRD, it's generally a good idea to avoid lying down right after you eat.
Give your food some time to settle.
Exactly. And some people find that sleeping on their left side can help reduce reflux symptoms.
Interesting. I'll have to try that. Now, beyond the physical stuff, like the bedroom environment and sleeping position, what about our habits and routines?
Ah, yes. The bedtime routine. This is crucial, whether you have asthma or not.
Absolutely. What are some key things to focus on?
Well, consistency is key. Try to go to bed and wake up around the same time each day, even on weekends if you can.
Yeah, I know it's tough sometimes.
I know. but it really helps regulate your body's natural sleep-wake cycle. And another big one, avoid screens for at least 30 minutes before bed.
Okay, I'm definitely guilty of that one.
I think we all are, but that blue light from our phones and computers can mess with our melatonin production, which is a hormone that helps us sleep.
So it's basically telling our brains to stay awake when we should be winding down.
Exactly. And finally, don't underestimate the power of relaxation techniques.
Oh, yeah. Those can be amazing. Like what kinds of things?
Deep breathing exercises, meditation, even some gentle stretching can help calm your mind and body, reducing stress and anxiety.
Which is especially helpful for people whose asthma is triggered by stress, right?
Exactly. It's all connected.
Okay, one last thing before we wrap up. Medication timing. We talked about this a bit earlier, but it's worth emphasizing again.
It really is. If you're having trouble sleeping and you think your asthma meds might be playing a role, definitely talk to your doctor.
They might be able to adjust the timing or type of medication you're taking.
Exactly. And remember, if you've been prescribed a preventive inhaler, be sure to use it regularly, including before bed.
It's like setting up a protective barrier for your airways while you sleep.
I like that.
So as we come to the end of our deep dive on sleep and asthma, the message for our amazing Asthma Friend community is clear. Better sleep equals better asthma control.
And on this World Sleep Day, we want to encourage everyone to take even small steps towards more restful nights.
Even tiny changes can make a big difference.
Absolutely. And remember, the Asthma Friend community is here to support you every step of the way. We'd love for you to join us. You can find all the information on our website.
Yes, come join us. We've got a fantastic community where you can share your experiences, get advice, and connect with others who understand what you're going through.
And be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for helpful videos and our newsletter for regular updates and insights.
We're always sharing new tips and tricks to help you breathe easier.
Absolutely. So to wrap things up, we want to leave you with this thought. How might prioritizing your sleep tonight impact your breathing and overall well-being tomorrow?
It's something to think about.
Sweet dreams, everyone.
And happy breathing.